What's up everyone, welcome back. I was digging through my 950 Spore creations and realized some of them look pretty tough. Today I'm fixing that. We're upgrading 5 of my classic creatures, the Gorgonops, the Spinosaurus, the Brachiosaurus, and the 2 different T-Rexes, giving them the overhaul that they desperately needed. Some of these were made years ago, and while I still like the ideas behind them, my building skills have definitely improved since then, by using mods too. So today, we're taking these old creations and seeing how much better they can become. Let's get into it. Starting off with the Gorgonops. Looking back at the original, the biggest problem is the head. It just doesn't really look like a Gorgonops, so the first thing I am definitely doing is rebuilding the entire skull and giving it a much more recognizable shape. While I'm at this, I'm slimming down the body. The old version definitely looks a little too fat and chunky and awkward. But Gorgonops were powerful animals, and they were also fairly athletic predators. They ate fat prey like Spinosaurus. Like those were like big animals, and like they were fast and like slim, so they could chase them. Now I'm currently narrowing the torso, making the whole animal look more streamlined. The tail is also getting a major extension, since the original's way too short because I used vanilla Spore and it throws off the entire silhouette. A longer tail helps balance everything out and makes the creature feel more unnatural when it moves. I'm not trying to completely reinvent this one. I still wanted to feel like the classic creature I made 2 years ago or so, just with better anatomy and cleaner proportions. By the end of the redesign, it looks a lot closer to the predator I originally imagined. Next up is the Spinosaurus, and honestly, almost everything about this one is changing. The original wasn't terrible, but it's definitely showing its age. The first thing I'm rebuilding is the entire torso. Definitely, I need to rebuild the entire thing. I also need to rebuild the entire head. I want a much longer crocodile-like snout that's definitely closer to what we know today. Then comes the body. The proportions are being completely reworked from the ground up. The torso is getting reshaped, the limbs are being adjusted, and overall I'm trying to move away from the old retro Spinosaurus that looks like a generic theropod with a sail look. Of course, the biggest change is the tail. Modern Spinosaurus reconstructions show a huge paddle-shaped tail, adapted for life in the water. So I'm giving it a much larger and deeper tail than before, also using the limbs as a tail. The sail itself is also being refined to fit the new body proportions. Once everything comes together, this ends up being a much more paleo-accurate Spinosaurus, while still fitting within Spore's style. Compared to an original, it almost feels like an entirely new animal. Now for the Brachiosaurus. The original gets the basic idea across, but it feels pretty plain and doesn't really capture the skill of a giant sauropod or any animal. But the first thing I'm definitely doing is making it bigger, taller body, longer neck, longer tail. Everything is being scaled up to sell that massive size. I'm also improving the posture so it stands out more naturally. The original model seems pretty awkward, while this version feels so much more confident and upright. One thing I'm adding isn't exactly modern science, it's a trunk. This is inspired by some of those older dinosaur depictions that gave sauropods elephant-like features like those trunks. It's definitely speculative, but like it gives the unique personality to this thing. Combined with the larger body and improved proportions, I think it ends up looking more like the tower giant I originally wanted from the beginning. Now for the stars of the show, the 2 T-Rexes. For the first T-Rex, I don't want to lose the original charm. This one has always had a very cartoony look, and honestly that's the part why I kinda like it. So instead of completely reshaping it like the Spinosaurus, I'm treating it more like an upgrade. So I'm gonna add extra details across the body, refining some of the proportions, and giving it a few more features to make it feel less simple, like only a few parts and then that's it, no spines, no other. My goal here is to slightly preserve the classic design while making it look more polished. The second T-Rex foe, that's a completely different story. This one is getting rebuilt from the ground up. New proportions, new head shape, new body structure. Pretty much everything is changing. It's aiming for something much more realistic and intimidating. I'm still giving it the original color scheme with a brown skin color and the stripes running across the body. Still, that's the original color scheme, and it's still not gonna break up the silhouette, make it feel like more like a real animal. The musculature is being worked, the posture is being refined, and overall I'm pushing for a far more believable Tyrannosaurus Rex. When you compare the finished version compared to the original, it's honestly hard to believe that they started as the same creature. And here they are, all 5 redesigned side by side. Looking at them now, it's crazy how much has changed. The Gorgonops has the proportion and head shape it deserved, and a longer tail. And the Spinosaurus has gone from an outdated sailback predator to something much more closer to modern reconstructions. The Brachiosaurus feels larger, taller, and more impressive than before. And there are the 2 T-Rexes. One keeps the nostalgic classic style or the cartoon style, while improved on it. The other basically a complete reimagining built from the ground up. This was honestly a really fun project because it shows how much my building style of Spore has changed over the years. Since I actually played Spore back in 2020, but I used my new computers. I got it in 2024, so I'm still gonna use this one. But some of these creatures were still made a long time ago, and revisiting them with newer techniques was a great challenge. Let me know which redesign was your favorite, and if there are any creatures you would like to see me make in the future, tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.